My next guest is lucky to be alive. We're so glad to hear that he's doing better here. Geoff Neal, back here on the program. Geoff, how's it going, man?
It's going good. Just relaxing, chilling until I do this follow-up appointment.
How are things right now? I mean, you've done a few interviews since then, but physically, mentally, how are you feeling?
Right now I'm going crazy. Everything else good. Like my health is good. I just want to get back in the gym. I'm tired of. I've been sitting around for like 2, damn near 3 weeks. I'm ready to get back in the gym and get back to work.
Now, I know this wasn't the direct cause of it, but I did notice in those interviews you did with ESPN and MMA Junkie that you mentioned you tested positive for COVID-19. How did that happen? Do you know like how you came in contact with it?
I don't know how I came in contact with it, but I did test positive. It was sometime in June, and I had some symptoms. It wasn't nothing like super bad, but then I just chilled in my house for 2 weeks, and then I got retested, and I was negative. So like that was the end of it. Like it really wasn't a bad experience.
And from what I gather, just from what we've been hearing and what we've been reading, everything you've sort of been saying, it started with, just some sickness, and then it became a headache, and obviously things were getting worse. At what point did you know you had to go to the hospital? Like how bad, like how long was that after the symptoms first started showing up?
The first time I knew I needed to go to the hospital was like the second day, because I had a headache and a stiff neck, and then the next day I had a headache, stiff neck, and my fever was 104.9. That's when I knew like I got to go to the doctor now. Like, you know what I mean? A fever that high, it could mean nothing good. So I tried to go to the doctor, and then they said this and that. Like it might be because I had like low sodium, or it could be this, it could be that. They just said just pretty much drink water.
Now, are you by yourself when this is all happening? Did you have to drive yourself to the hospital, or did you have someone with you at least to help you out? Because I couldn't imagine dealing with that.
Yeah, for like the first couple of days, I had a friend that was helping me out. She was taking me wherever I needed to go, and then like the last couple of days, it was just me, so I had to man up and get to the doctor. Like it was like the last day right before I got admitted to the ICUs when I realized like I might die. You know what I mean? Because I was talking to people, and they're telling me that it's nothing good. Like it could be this, it could be that, and I didn't want to believe that. But the last day is when I knew. I was like, okay, they're right. Like I can't just drink water and just tough this out. I have to get into a hospital ASAP.
What's going through your head when they're telling you almost died? I mean, that like this was so unexpected. It wasn't something that like, you did, like you didn't fall or anything. It was just something unexpected. So what's going through your head when you're hearing, the terrible news like that?
Stubbornness. Like I didn't want to believe it. I still don't want to believe it. You know what I mean? And I was sitting in the ICU, and they were keeping me there, and I didn't want to be there. I was getting like, after like the third day, I started getting mad at everybody. Because I was like, I'm fine. Like, let me out. Let me go home and chill. And it was like, no, you can't. Like, you legit almost died. And I was like, no, I didn't almost die, but I really did. You know what I mean? The doctors know more than I do. I'm stubborn. I have like a mindset, like, you know what I mean? I'm invincible. You know what I mean? And for them to tell me that I almost died, it's hard to accept.
So, you're obviously, I mean, we're all stubborn to a certain degree. I'm the same way. Like, I don't read instructions when I'm putting things together. Like as males, it's sort of one of our traits, I think, for a lot of us. Were you like, once you got to the hospital, were you feeling better, or were you still feeling worse, but you're just like, this is nothing?
Well, when I first went to that, like, after that Sunday, when I realized like shit was really going wrong, and then I went to, cause pretty much, it got to the point where I couldn't drink water. Everything, like, I knew I was dehydrated. I had diarrhea. I was throwing up everywhere, and I was dehydrated. And I was trying to drink water to hydrate myself, and I couldn't, because every time I would drink it, like 2 or 3 minutes later, I was throwing up. So I was like, man, I got to get somewhere. I got to get like an IV put in me, because I'm super dehydrated. I'm pissing in my pee's like orange. You know what I mean? So yeah, like that's what I knew. So I went and I tried to get an IV from this one. Like it was like it's kind of like a Care Now, but I went to pay for an IV. They're like $500. I was like, I don't give a damn. I need this, So once they were putting the IVs in me, they were checking my blood pressure, and it was dangerously low. So that's when they sent me to the actual hospital. And then once they told me that I was like, my blood pressure was dangerously low, that's when shit started going downhill. Like I was constantly throwing up. You know what I mean? Like I was unresponsive for like a minute or two, you know what I mean? Just throwing up, my body was shaking, and they took me to ICU, and stuff started getting worse, but it got better after a day or two, and then I started feeling good.
And I just want to give people an idea of what type of guy you are, Geoff. Like, seriously, like, we were texting during that time because we were supposed to do an interview and you're in the hospital, and you were even still like, yeah, I guess we can do it a bit later. I'm just in the hospital. Like, the fact you even considered that going through all this, I think just speaks to your character, man. So, props to you, but I'm just really glad to hear you're okay, obviously, with everything that's going on. I guess, does that change your perspective on life, just knowing how close you were?
I mean, I feel like my perspective, like the perspective I have now, I feel like it didn't change it. You know what I mean? I've always know that you got to appreciate life. You know what I mean? You got to give your all. You know what I mean? It didn't change my perspective. It just reinforced it.
Right. Yeah. To take your health very seriously, as we all do. So do you have any answers at this point? Has there been anything that has been told to you as to what might have caused this? Was it like, is there, because I mean, I'm not a doctor, clearly you're not a doctor, but have you been given any sort of answers as to what perhaps caused this?
No, not at all. I really think that just for the simple fact that the doctors couldn't find nothing doing all the blood tests that they did with me, I think it was meningitis, because like all the symptoms were on par for that, and the only way to test for that is to do a spinal tap, and that's what they did. I
see. Okay.
You can't get a blood test done and know if you have meningitis or not. So I think it might have been meningitis.
So what causes that? Do you know?
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to. I should get a doctor on here and get someone who actually knows what they're talking about. But that, I mean, at the very least, it sounds like you're feeling better. So, I mean, that's a positive sign. Like, things have not got worse since you were in the hospital.
No, not at all. Just get all.
And you mentioned too that you have a follow-up appointment. Is training something that's even on your mind right now? Like, have they even given you any idea when you might be able to get back and do that?
The training's been on my mind since I got out of the hospital. You know what I mean? I want to get right back to it. And I actually. After when I got out, I tried to shadow box for like a minute or two. No, that was a bad idea. Like my lungs, because I guess something's up in my lungs too. It wasn't COVID. It was something like strep pneumonia or something like that. It was just all fucking weird. But when I got the follow-up appointment on the 25th, and after that, that's when I'm know when I get back to the training.
That's crazy. Did you get a COVID test, or they just they didn't even bother because they don't think it was it?
From that Wednesday to that Sunday, I got like 5 or 6 COVID tests.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so yeah, so for sure it's not. Yeah,
to test you, because you know what I mean. Because I had symptoms that were COVID-like, so they always automatically tested me.
I know it's so early to sort of predict things about, like you said, you don't even know when you can go back to training. But I'm assuming you're probably not going to even think about fighting until next year. I would think just to play it safe, just to make sure that there are no health issues. Is that sort of what you're thinking right now?
That's not what I'm thinking. But if that's what my coach is thinking, then I'm just rolling with him. Like whatever he has planned for me, I'm with it.
And I know you were working a bit too, doing the serving thing. I obviously that's not happening. But is the plan to go back and do that once you're healthy again?
It's the plan, but my parents and my coach don't want me to work no more. They're like, you need to get away from there, because you know what I mean. They don't know. Maybe I got somehow got sick from doing that. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. Did anyone, I mean, I'm playing detective here, but I guess we both are to this extent, but did you hear anyone else at your work that had got infected, whether it was COVID or anything like that? Have you heard anything?
Nope, just me.
Bad luck then. I guess we'll just chalk it up to that. You're not a guy that's used to, being at home because, I mean, even if you're not training, you're working, you're always on the go doing things. So what has this period been like for you? Have you been getting into video games? Like, what are you doing to pass the time by?
Just playing video games. And I'm tired of playing video games. I never thought I would get tired of playing my video game, and I'm like legit tired of it. I'm looking at it. I'm like, I don't want to turn this shit on right now.
So are you getting people to get you some more games or something? Because you got to switch things up a little bit. I'm sure you're getting kind of tired of playing the same stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I got a bunch of games. There's games I haven't even finished playing. I just don't want to play no more. I want something else to do, because playing video games is something I used to do to like decompress on my free time. You know what I mean? It's not something I do all day just to do it. You know what I mean? So I'm not working, I'm not training, I'm not doing anything, and it's like all I have is a video game and Netflix.
Anything good on Netflix you're watching?
What I just got done watching something. I watched this movie. It was Project Power with Jamie Foxx. That's a good. It's surprisingly good. Like, I didn't think it was going to be like that type of movie, but it was good. But other than that, I just be watching like The Office and random stuff just to fall asleep.
Yeah, take the time off. Have you been able to go to Fortis and at least see the guys and the girls training there, or do you have to stay at home? Is that sort of the mandatory thing?
I don't have to stay at home. I'm choosing not to go there because it's going to, like, you know what I mean, watching them train and, you know what I mean, having a good old time. I'm I'm gonna get all antsy, and I don't want to be around that when I'm supposed to just be relaxing.
What was it like? I know she hasn't been a part of your team for a super long time, but Cheyenne Bays getting the win on Contender Series. How cool was that? Seeing her get the UFC contract.
It was super cool. I'm super proud of her. It was crazy to see that side of her. You know what I mean? Because she been training with us and like she works out with us, and she's like usually like this quiet, sweet, nice girl. And to see her, like, you know what I mean? She was told the girl, "Get the fuck up." I'm like, what? Like, who is this? Like, I don't know this person that I'm looking at right now. So it was cool to see that side of her.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, Geoff, again, so glad to hear you're on the road to recovery. Hopefully we'll get some more answers here in the next little bit. But in the meantime, if you got anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media you want to plug, remind people not to add your dad to Facebook, and I'll give you the last word here.
No, I do just really want to thank everybody that helped me out through this whole situation. I want to thank not mainly, but Fit Meals Prep. They've been keeping me healthy. Like, you know what I mean? When everything was going on, they'll just bring me food. You know what I mean? They're not requiring me to post or anything. They're just they really take care of me, and I appreciate them and everybody else too. But that's all I got to say.